that, right? If you ask it, you would have to be willing to answer it yourself, okay? So that kind of keeps it safe to where you know what I mean on that. But I've already answered the question of how long you guys have been together. And just tell us kind of right off, how did you guys first meet?
We kind of knew of each other in 6th grade. You know, I cheered and he was a football player, so we kind of, we were acquaintances. We didn't really know each other that well. And then in 7th grade, we had like all the same classes together, but we seriously could not stand each other. I mean, like every chance we got, we were fighting, fussing. Anything I would say, he would go against it. Anything he said, I would go against it. And then something happened, and in 8th grade, we started dating.
Yeah, she caught my attention, fellas, in 8th grade. About December is when I started taking notice to her, however you want to take that. And Super Bowl night, February 1st, is when I asked her out for Super Bowl.
Now, Rick, help me understand this now. Did she have a boyfriend at the time?
Yes, she did. Okay. Not when I asked her out. I kind of gave her that. I gave her. Okay, let me lay it out for you. Let me lay it out for you. My cousin, which is Lorianne, her and Lorianne were really good friends. They cheered together. Well, I told Lorianne about, when was it? Probably in January that I was, I really liked Brittany, and that I was wanting to go out with her, which really just means to be my girlfriend. We didn't really go anywhere. And she was dating this guy, and y'all dated on and off for a long time. So it wasn't anything serious. Y'all been dating 3 months, 4 months. Anyways, make a long story short, I told Lorianne, and she told Brittany about it, and then she broke up with her boyfriend, and then we started. I finally got up the courage to ask her about 2 weeks later.
So you kind of put the word out that you were kind of
trying
to match.
That might not sound.
He put it in my hands, though.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I got you. Now, dating 8 years, at what point did it click that you said, we may get married one day?
For me, it was. I think more for me it was like and I know some of y'all might be in 10th grade now, but for me, I kind of envisioned that I could possibly marry this girl in probably about 10th grade.
I was probably more like 11th or 12th, where it kind of was like, okay, this isn't just a high school thing getting us to college. It was legit.
Right. Now, before we leave the high school days, I remember very clearly. I remember Rick, you played football, and Brittany, you cheered, and I remember when you received homecoming queen, and then I remember the next year you didn't cheer, and then you didn't play linebacker. All right. And one of the questions that we are just dying to hear is, I'm gonna ask it the way you guys ask it. Why did you give up football for a girl?
Okay. And I regret my decision as far as it wasn't just Brittany, and I'll explain that, but I will go ahead and say that I can honestly say now that I wish that I went ahead and finished my 2 years of high school playing football. But I think what it was is my mom and my dad, they split up in, I think it was my ninth grade year in the fall, and the whole reason I played football was because my dad got me interested in it, and I kind of played it for him. I liked playing the sport, but it was more of like me playing for him, and wanting to make my daddy proud, and that whole spiel or whatever. But then I got talking to Brittany about it, and the more and more we talked about it, it just seemed like it took up too much of our schedules, like we had in middle school, high school. But yeah, it was kind of like one of those things where I talked to her about it, she talked to me, and it was kind of like a team thing that we did. We kind of, if you don't cheer, I'm not gonna do football, and vice versa. And so I think it was more of a combination of me and her, and then the issue with my dad and that whole situation. But I do regret it. I do wish that I went ahead and laid it out. Because unless you're really, really good, that's all you got right there is those 4 years of high school. So,
Brit, you got anything you'd like to add to that?
I regret not cheering as well. I loved it. It was my thing. But, you know, it does take a lot of time out of your life. But looking back, you only have 4 years of high school. And seriously, I mean, cheerleading, you're not going to be doing that afterwards, most likely. So, I was in the gymnastics and all that. And I liked gymnastics more than cheering, so I stuck with gymnastics. But I definitely wish that I had continued cheering. Because you really only have those 4 years.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the True Love Waits commitment. How long did you guys date until maybe that conversation happened? And then how did y'all decide as a couple that this was something for y'all that y'all really wanted to pursue?
I think for us it was pretty easy. I had already been to one True Love Waits conference, so I knew that was my goal for the future. That's what I wanted to do. That's where I wanted to see myself, you know. But I think that next year, when we were dating, they had another one, so Rick just came. So it was kind of like, I don't think I ever had to like bring it up and be like, this is my deal, or, you know.
mm-hmm. She was, I'll give her, credit on that. She was definitely the, how would you put it?
Initiator, the leader in that.
Yeah, the leader in that, which I'm going to tell you right now, guys, y'all need to be the leader in that. So take that however you will, but guys, y'all really need to be the leader in that. But I will go ahead and admit that she was the leader in that, and I'm very blessed and happy that she did that,
Yeah. Oh, that's good, man. And already, you guys, I think, even for me, I'm like hearing this, I'm like, man, that's good stuff. Now, let's talk a little bit about the 8 years. That's like maybe longer than some people that I know that's been married. All right, that's a long time to date. Why didn't y'all, if there came a point that you knew you were committed to each other, you want to be pursuing marriage down the road, why did y'all wait through college? Why didn't y'all just go ahead and get married out of high school?
My thing was always, my parents my dad especially had always taught me that, I was special. I was somebody worth waiting on. And I know that a lot of girls don't have that. And the fact that my daddy had that much faith in me and loved me that much, really instilled in my heart that that's what I needed to do. If I'm that special to him, then I know I'm that special to God. So, and if I'm not, and honestly, even though I love Rick, I knew that I wanted to be with Rick. I knew that I wanted to be his wife one day. I can only control my half of the relationship. So if I had had sex with Rick, his half, he could walk out the door tomorrow, and I wouldn't know anything was going to happen. I mean, you want to have that faith, but in all reality, you can only control yourself in a relationship.
Yeah. Rick, you have anything you want to say to that? Well, while we're right along those lines of True Love Waits, I know the questions that are just the students are chomping at the bits just to hear the temptations, the late night movie, and all those things. Now, did y'all all of a sudden just wake up and arrive and be like, man, we got this thing mastered? Or, how did y'all work through temptations?
I think it was definitely a building process. It wasn't one of those things where, we said, all right, we can't do this, we can't go here. It was more one of those things that we found ourselves in more temptation when, say, for example, we're alone. Like, say, my mom had to go somewhere, her mom had to go somewhere, and we knew that was not a good, we knew that wasn't a good situation. A good situation to be in.
Yeah.
Same thing with, when we come to my house, laying down on the couch or anything like that, we can all be honest here, that can lead to other things.
Yeah.
And, like I said, though, I think to answer your question, I think it was more of a building process. I don't want to say trial by error.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want to say that, but it definitely was a building process. And
so, where y'all are today in y'all's relationship, I've hung out with y'all a lot of times. And I've actually been like, okay, help me understand this. But with the building process, y'all would say that y'all are in a place in y'all's relationship today as far as, I don't know if saying that y'all can handle it is the right way to put it, but y'all have matured in y'all's commitment to each other, y'all's faith and everything, that y'all can maybe do things today that you couldn't do early on because of where you were in your relationship? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I think it was more like trust, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, definitely. Like, girls, you have to be with a guy that you can trust with yourself. Because I can tell you, even as a girl, you know, I know that guys, everybody thinks guys are all about sex, but even as a girl, you want that connection with a guy. That's just, you know, what girls want. We want to be able to please that guy. We want them to be happy with who we are and in our relationship. But you need to be with a guy that you can trust to not take advantage of you in a situation like that. But also, I trust Rick. I know he'll never cross that line because he loves me enough not to. But you still have to be strong enough within yourself. As much as I love Rick, I still have to have enough faith in myself and trust in myself that I'll still be like, no, if that ever comes, you know, into play. But you need to be able to trust the person that you're with. Because if they're wanting that, then you probably don't want to be with them anyways. So.
Have y'all had any conversations? Have y'all had conversations where you say, okay, we know this is a boundary for us?
yeah.
How did that go? What did that look like?
I think it would go back to like because a lot of the times when those conversations came up, it was because one of us had crossed the line, and the other one, you know, and I can be honest, it was to start with, it was more Brittany doing that. You know, I'm going to be honest with y'all here. She would have to pop me on the hand. Okay, and I think though it did catch her off guard the first time that I you know,
popped her on the hand.
Exactly. And that's when we had the. I'm sorry, I don't really know. This is awkward to talk about this. But yeah, I think that was when it was most of the time brought up when we had those talked about. We can't do this. You're struggling when we're here. Maybe we need to step back and we don't need to do this, or or I'm struggling when we're here. Maybe we don't need to do this anymore. And it was just one of those kind of feedback. We'd feed off each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It has to be a couple commitment. Like it can't be one or the other. Because I do really strongly believe that if Rick hadn't have, because it was on me the first year probably, and if he hadn't have kind of jumped on board with that ship, we wouldn't be together.
That's good. I guess you kind of already answered this, but 8 years is a long time to be together and to keep that commitment. I mean, in simple terms, maybe you've already answered it. I'm just going to ask it again. How did y'all stay pure through college, through high school?
I think, honestly, because some days it was me that, I want to be close with Rick. That's the last, that's the only, we're so close emotionally. We can just look at each other, we know what we're thinking, we know what we're feeling. As soon as he walks in the door or something, I know if he's had a bad day or a good day. But as a girl, you want to give that guy that connection. That's the last thing, But that's also why on our wedding day, that'll make the difference. Because, Michael is going to marry us and all that. But, what Michael's saying is just words. Anybody can do that. Anybody can say, pronounce some man and wife or whatever. But that's what's going to connect us the way that we're supposed to be connected. And I don't think we would have made it if it hadn't been God is our center. Because when he knew that I was weak, he was praying for me. When I knew that he was weak and having a hard time with it, I was praying for him.
I heard it put just last week that it takes three to make a marriage: the husband, the wife, and God. I said that's good. I don't have a ring on my finger, but I resonate with that. That sounds right. All right, 8 years together. Let's talk about the hard times. I mean, has everything's always been, what true love waits. We're going to get married. We come from great families. Has there been ups and downs in the relationship?
Holler, screaming, taking up the phone.
Holes and walls.
Yeah. Be honest about it.
Yeah.
What has been the hardships? Looking back, what's been some of the major obstacles in your relationship?
Would be the first major obstacle was me when it came to jealousy. I ran off all her guy friends. And when we became boyfriend, girlfriend, I see a dude talking to her, I was like, you're not going to be talking to my girlfriend. And she had a lot of guy friends, a lot of girlfriends and everything. And I think the biggest obstacle to start with was me with jealousy. And she finally, you did that in the bud when you just